These little play brothers and sisters and then work husbands and wives are wreaking havoc in marriages.
They are.
So the question becomes,
They are.
is it okay to have platonic friendships? Welcome to today's episode of Relationship Talk with a Guest. According to verywellmind.com, a platonic relationship is one in which two people share a close bond but do not have a sexual relationship. They may even feel love for each other, referred to as platonic love. This concept and name originate with the ideas of the ancient philosopher Plato. The modern term of platonic relationship or platonic love is focused on the idea of people being close friends without sexual desire. Is that even possible? I mean, before we dive in, if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, click the subscribe button, click the notifications bell so that you won't miss the new content. In our coaching sessions with couples, we're seeing a rise in the issues surrounding a lack of boundaries concerning friends, particularly friends of the opposite sex.
Yes, those friends.
These little play brothers and sisters and then work husbands and wives are wreaking havoc in marriages.
They are.
So the question becomes,
They are.
is it okay to have platonic friendships? With no explanation at all.
On the
Just
spot.
yes or no.
I knew it was coming.
What is your answer? Yes or no? Is it okay?
I was a hard no, but I have evolved into a yes.
So right now you're
Yeah.
at a yes. Okay.
To have platonic friends, yes.
Just okay. No explanation. Okay. So I have to be real with my village on this one right here. I came into our marriage with a laundry list of male friends, associates, homeboys, and exes. I love being around masculine energy. So by default, a lot of my closest friends were men.
A lot
So
of them.
when we got serious, like we had several hard conversations. I fought
Hard.
for my right to
Hard.
keep all my male friends. And guess what? I was wrong. At the end of the day, like hear me on this one. At the end of the day, Ed is my number one priority.
Thanks, babe.
His emotional security has to matter to me. I'm his wife. I'm his safe place. So it wasn't right for me to jeopardize his peace. So when I learned better, I did better. I put every one of those relationships that I had with men on the chopping block. And if my relationship with someone made him uncomfortable, they had to be blocked and be blessed, period. I had to let it go. So we had to go through and see who I could keep and see who we had to get rid of. Tyler Perry's character, Terry, said something profound in the movie. What was that movie?
Why Did I Get Married?
Yeah, Why Did I Get Married? I'm going to paraphrase right here, but he said something like, even if you're in the best relationship possible, you'll still only get 80% of what you want. Many people get caught up trying to supplement and fill that last 20%. Supplementing your marriage to fill needs or wants with people of the opposite sex can really present several potential dangers. Every relationship is unique, but you can't be naive. So we're going to give you 7 big risks that we want you to look out for. Number 1, emotional infidelity.
Big one.
People swear that they're not having sex with someone. If they're not having sex with them, then it really shouldn't matter. Like, there's nothing to be worried about. But developing a deep emotional connection with someone can lead to emotional infidelity. This can happen when you're sharing those intimate details, seeking emotional support or confiding in them more than you do with your partner a lot of times. That could really create a sense of betrayal. So, babe, why do you think it's easier for people to talk to outsiders sometimes than it is for them to talk to their partner?
I'm going to be 100 because you and your partner or you and your spouse were not best friends going in. As much as you try to say you're best friends, as much as you try to say, I want him to be my best friend, that is how you know they're your best friend. At that point, you should know that, this is something that I would tell, my homegirl or my homeboy. This is what they usually help me out with. once you sign on in a committed relationship, once you said I do or whatever it is, this new person, you said you have to either replace that friend or you now get the same privileges as that friend. I have to be able to share these emotional, deep, vulnerable stories, information, things with you, so that I don't go to an outside person. Because as you're being vulnerable, you're opening yourself up, you're opening your heart up. And so that draws a connection that you're pulling away from the current relationship that you're in.
Question.
Shoot.
So, don't you feel like if you have a best friendship, we were best friends.
Correct.
But don't you think that the marriage takes a toll on the friendship? And this is what I mean by that. When you're just friends, I live in my house, you live in yours.
Correct.
And I can talk to you about what's going on in my life.
Mm-hmm.
You can talk to me about what's going on in yours, and we can confide in each other. I can we give each other advice. When we are married, marital issues, then that I told you a couple times, why are you complaining to me about me?
I used to.
Why are you on this phone complaining to me about
tired of
me?
these crazy women, and then you like,
I'm a crazy woman that you're talking about. So, don't you think that even if you're best friends, that once you're married, sometimes you want to talk to someone, you hit a brick wall sometimes in communication, especially if you haven't learned to communicate effectively to get through those hard conversations. So you look for an outlet. Right. Or another perspective.
Correct.
It's just that you have to be so careful about who you select to be that person.
To me, I feel it should be a mutually agreed upon person that you talk to. In your vows, you was like, I promise to keep all our marital stuff away from everybody, share it with nobody but Dot. You
but
said
my mama.
and
you agreed to that.
I agreed to it. But see, that's the thing. One thing, if you had the messy mama that's always steering you the wrong information, I'd be like, yeah, I don't even know, not that.
So you're saying as long as the two people agree on the person.
Right.
So don't go tell our business to, someone of the same sex or opposite sex.
Correct.
If I haven't approved for you to do that. Well, that's where coaches and therapists also come in. Counselors can help also, have these conversations. Yeah, but you don't necessarily want to be in a session. Right. So, and I think people fall into a trap sometimes of choosing the wrong person to confide in. They choose a person who is in close proximity. Right. So it might be someone at work that you see every day. Right. And you're like, I'm having issues with my husband. Right. I want another man's perspective. Right. Can you explain to me what I'm doing wrong or what I should say to him? And then you open up a very personal conversation that your spouse has not signed off on. Correct. So even if you're best friends, you might not want to just have conversations with them. What is your advice in that situation?
Because that person, let me make sure I'm hearing this right, that person that you confide in is, are they in good standing or bad standing with your spouse?
See, I don't know. You just said that you think that people choose to go outside of the marriage to have conversations because they aren't best friends.
Correct.
And I'm saying even if they are best friends, sometimes they still seek to go outside. And so what could be another reason that people go outside? That
they go outside?
Yeah, not because of the best friendship. Because even when you're best friends, you want to talk to somebody else.
Also because that person may be very flattering in the way that they give advice. You're like, oh my God, beautiful. You don't need to be stressed like that. Let me tell you, I can help you.
I think you're missing my question though.
Okay, tell me what your question is.
No, I'm not saying that it's okay to go outside.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying that I don't think the fact that they aren't best friends is the only reason why they're going outside. Because we are best friends and we go outside. We talk. My mom passed away. Right. And so since she passed away, we picked another person, my brother.
Her Kenya.
that we can tell marital stuff to. Both of us call him
Right.
about stuff that's going on in the marriage, and
Right.
he'll talk to us both on the phone, on speakerphone,
Right.
or individually.
Correct.
And he somehow is gifted in helping me to see his perspective when I'm not able to understand it, and vice versa. So we have a person that we go to, but we're best friends, and we still have to go.
Every now and then we may go to my brother if it's real, like it takes a minute for you to agree to that one. But yeah, every now and then. But you were saying.
What I'm saying is we're best friends, and we
Right.
go outside.
Correct.
So being best friends with your spouse is not going to keep you from wanting to or needing to go outside of the marriage
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
to help.
Right.
So what are you saying? What are some other reasons that people need to go outside?
Because maybe you're at a standstill, and sometimes the outside person can give you the right words or the right perspective to make you see the other person's argument. Because sometimes you're only seeing it from your perspective. Outside person can be like, all right, let me show you what he's thinking or where he's coming from. Sometimes they may even express to you, you know what, he's probably vulnerable and don't want to tell you that he's hurt by what you said, and this is why. And you'll be like, okay, that makes sense. And then you go back in, and you was like, man, babe, did you feel hurt by that? And they'll be like, well, yeah. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes the outside person also gives you just a perspective.
That happened with us. There's a therapist, and I'm like, we're going to go give her $80 more because I could say the exact same thing to Ed that she said to him, but when she said it, he understood it. And so sometimes you have a block up with the person that you're in communication with, and you just need a different voice. And so we know that that's a thing. Like sometimes you do need other people, but you have to be so careful about your selection, and your spouse has to sign off on who it is that you're talking to. Don't you think?
I agree.
It's like a vacation.
It's a vacation.
Yeah, vacation. Exactly.
I really appreciated just the balance.
Yeah.
The balance of teaching. We had games.
Yeah.
Great food. We also had time for just the spouses to connect and have some me time.
We want everybody to have fun in the boom, boom room.
So I just felt like it was a really balanced retreat.
So another risk to consider is jealousy and insecurity. Your partner might feel jealous or insecure about your relationship with someone other, with the opposite sex. So this can lead to like mistrust and tension in your relationship because you are choosing to talk to, even if it's not about your personal business, but you're having a lot of conversation with somebody else that's causing your spouse to feel some type of way.
Right, because we probably know your type. And
Come on, type.
We done, I done seen you talk to this.
I done seen.
I have seen. See, she gonna be on me. I have seen you talk to some 6'5", bald-headed brother that looks like Idris Elba or Sheriff Troy, and every time you see him, you kikiing and smiling.
So that's a bit, the kikiing is the thing.
Oh, don't be kikiing with somebody else. He ain't that funny. He ain't that funny.
So it don't even matter what I'm talking to this man about.
I see too many laughters and too many shoulders. Yeah, that's just real talk. They can't see you real comfortable.
No, I need you to use, I want you, the other example.
What's the other example?
Turn the tables.
See, we always turn.
So he might see me with a tall, thick, fine joker, and he don't want me sniggling with him.
See,
who do you like to sniggle with, sir? Since you were using examples, I want to make sure you tell the people who you like to sniggle with.
I gave my examples on my end. I guess you got to give your perspective. See, here it comes.
It's hard to pick because Ed is not real picky. Ed standards.
Really?
He ended up with a jewel with me. But you don't have to be a jewel for him to kiki with you. So if you have this humongous butt.
See, there goes standard. That's a standard.
The end.
Not the end.
The end. So if you over
end.
there, of course, you're not going to be over there spilling your guts to any woman walking around because it might bring up some insecurities that I have.
That's very true.
And you would need to honor those.
I agree. We never did talk about, like we had to go through her friends with the whole chopping block. We had to go through my friends too because, she fought for the right to keep some male friends that I eventually approved. They were cool dudes. We're actually friends. Some of them we actually have business relationships with, and and it's real cool. Like went through the whole process. Now, when it was time for me,
time out. These men that are my friends are super respectful of our marriage.
Facts.
They honor our marriage first before anything.
Facts. And so
they're respectful in their words to me in any conversations with me, and he is around. And
right. When it was time to put, my friends on the chopping block, the chop went like that thing when them guys be doing the Japanese steakhouse. That's how mine got chopped up. So then this is my question to Ed. Let's talk about the ones that you're actually friends with, not the ones that you have communications with because you would like to be their penis in a glass jar. Oh, here we go.
The ones that you want to sleep with are not your
this
friends.
Is pre-marriage, not now.
These
now.
are not
this
your friends.
Long time ago.
So how many of these women are you actually friends with? That they actually bring something to the table other than she might let me hit one day? And you know how many were left? None.
No, that's not true.
How many were left?
I mean, none.
Well, what are you talking about?
But it's because I thought the standards changed. We ain't gonna go in there. Cause I think these guys, same thing.
What?
Penis in the glass jar. I'm telling you, that's like Chris Rock said. That's all friends are. In case of emergency, break glass jar. But your guys are very. They don't present that. They're all good dudes. But I think they know that I know that this could be a very. I'm willing to
Ed,
do some things.
The question is,
okay, my bad.
Why you don't have any female friends still remaining after the chopping block?
I mean, we won't.
Because we were both given the same opportunity to place people here, and we're not going to be friends with them anymore, or we are.
Because you have, I think, you had a real deep connection with your friends that proved to be true friendship. Mine was a little shallow surface.
What was the shallow surface?
Number 3.
Number 3. It can be challenging to maintain appropriate boundaries when you have friendships of the opposite sex. So what starts as a platonic friendship can sometimes evolve into something more, either emotionally or physically, especially if there's a lack of clear boundaries or if both parties spent a lot of time together. So even if there is a real friendship, like if you don't continue to revisit those boundaries and put things in place, like no, we probably don't need to be in this position alone. Having this conversation with this right here, we should talk about something else, or whatever your boundaries would be, because even if you don't feel anything for your friend, eventually, after spending a whole lot of time together and sharing intimate details, your friend may start to have feelings for you, and then you're just in a cruel situation because you're in a relationship, you're married. There's nothing you can do for that person. So what do you think about that? Like, I appreciate the boundaries that I have with my friends, but without those boundaries, then they probably could go awry, The
question always becomes, are the boundaries set? Do you leave it up to the person who is friends with them? Like, should the female who had the male friend, is she setting the boundaries?
Talk about me.
Are we setting them together? Again, because it has to be a mutual agreement that, okay, we agree that you and this friend are platonic. Like, he or she is not a threat to our marriage. Here are the boundaries that they must respect. If if your spouse is not included in that process, then are they real boundaries?
No, your spouse had to be included in the boundary set for any of my friendships like that, because it has to be something that he's comfortable with. Because if at any point during the friendship he becomes uncomfortable, then it's got to go.
Right.
We can't be friends anymore.
Yeah, the first thing you can't do is when they set the boundary, like, okay, he can't make no phone calls after this time and on this day. And the first thing out your mouth is, that's ridiculous.
Sometimes it might be ridiculous though, right? Because what if your friend needs to contact you later on? I'm just asking.
He has to respect that call boundary. Like if I'm saying, hey, I don't need somebody calling my wife after 10 o'clock and on Sundays, because that's our worship time, then 10 o'clock on Sundays.
Yeah, I got to work it out.
Yeah, they got to work it out. If they're really respectful of the friendship, of the marriage.
Respectful enough to build a friendship with the husband.
Correct.
So that he is comfortable with, or maybe if he calls you after 9, this need to be on speaker. So, because if there's an emergency, then as long as I'm a part of it. Correct. Y'all aren't sneaking, talking late night. Correct. I mean, something like that, maybe.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. He should have some type of contact with the other person.
Because we don't have times. Like, your ex-wife calls you whenever, and it's not a problem.
What I'm saying is, though, if you have a...
But if your spouse
said that once that time, you got to be willing to...
No,
we don't have time. No. I'm not saying that's something we said. I'm saying, but they got to be willing. If that was
if that's a requirement, then you got to roll with it. I agree. You're right.
They may have that as a boundary. You see what I'm saying?
It might feel ridiculous to you,
correct,
because you're coming from a very free place, and you're like,
And I've even seen it where the friend will be like, well, I'm your friend, I ain't his friend, so I'm gonna just...
That's a problem.
That's a problem.
It is.
You can't be like, well, I'm for you. So
you are so right.
And
I was wrong on that. If your spouse says, I don't want this person calling after 9 because it feels disrespectful to me, then even if I don't understand it, if you feel disrespected, I can't allow any behaviors going on that make you feel disrespected. So you're right.
Now, when you arguing for your boundary, be reasonable. Don't try to pull the old... Don't sound like a parent because I said so. You just setting a boundary just to... You trying to make...
But really have some reason behind it.
Have some reason behind it.
I got you.
You see what I'm saying? Really find out how important is this friend to you. Like, what is it about him that you want to keep around? You know what I'm saying? And you got to be able to explain that. Not just because, well, he was funny. He was always around. He was a friend. Yeah, I'm funny. I got a lot of jokes.
Yeah, are you keeping this friend around to supplement what your spouse doesn't have?
Correct. No, that's not fair. You know what I'm saying? If he's a friend and he's been, he would know.
We keep saying he's. What about she?
She should be a friend that respects the marriage. I meant to jump on that. What was that show we watched? And they talked about the throuple. Is that it?
It was Love and Marriage DC, I want to say.
Yes. And that boundary was crossed. I think it goes to a later point. I'll bring it up later.
Okay.
I'll bring it up later.
So number 4. Time and energy spent on friendships with the opposite sex might take away from the time and effort that you put into your own marriage. This can lead to feelings of neglect and resentment from your partner. Do you feel like if I started hanging out with these men a lot and neglecting you?
That's a huge no-no.
I feel like that's part of the reason you're okay with me being friends with whoever, because I ain't going to neglect you ever.
Correct.
It doesn't matter who's in the room. It doesn't matter what's going on. You are always my top priority, and you know that.
Yes, time priority comes first, and even if I'm not there or not able to spend time with you, and they're like, well, I want to go to that show. I want to go to that concert. If the friend, wants to come around, is always, hey, Ed, such and such wants to meet me. I'm going to be in town. Is that okay? You see what I'm saying? That you have to make sure that the time you're putting in and building your friendship, it shouldn't even be equal. It should be less than. It should be a multiple amount of time that you're putting in for your spouse and for your husband.
So if you are hanging out and you're doing, going to all these shows, going to movies, going to eat, like, are you and your spouse having date night? And so I think maybe this just popped in my head, but it might be an issue if you have a spouse that's busy all the time.
That's
like, okay, you during basketball season.
Yes, that's a good.
We don't go anywhere.
No.
But if I want to go, then I went with male friends, even though none of them actually live close to us. But if they were in the area, let's say some of my male friends lived around, then you aren't available to do any of the things that I be wanting to do. And if they want to go, would that be an issue then? It's not like I'm taking time from you because you wouldn't be spending that time with me anyway. Would you have a problem with it?
It depends on the activity. It depends on the closeness of the activity. Like if you're like, yeah, we going to a sip and paint class, or y'all gonna be drinking and painting together? No, I don't care if I got the time or not. No.
Why did that do? That was so funny.
Yeah,
like, why is that the example that came in your head?
Because we've been to several sip and paint classes, and every time after every sip and paint class, we done came home and had some.
We have sex after church, so you can't put that together. So I can't go nowhere.
I'm just saying that what I just remember specifically. Now, if it's something like, hey,
where have we been that you don't get nothing? You're gonna associate if you do it that way. Then you're gonna associate every activity with.
You know what? Yeah.
You like, nah, y'all are definitely not going to revival.
No, not revival. No.
Y'all you went to Wendy's with him? Ain't no way you went to Wendy's. You give me some after Wendy's.
Yeah, just events in general. To me.
So what's okay and what's not okay?
Hanging out with the opposite sex, going to events is just always questionable. Like you just need to make sure.
So if there was a party, and I was like, I don't want to go by myself. I'm not gonna know a lot of people there. Can he go with me? You'd be like, no.
I'd have to do it. It's a case by case.
Case by case.
Case by case. I can't.
Friend by friend.
Friend by friend. I can't say no. But I can't absolutely say yes. It's a case by case.
But if you say no, then it has to be okay with me.
It has to be okay with no.
He's uncomfortable with that.
If it's yes, then I got to trust that you're going to be on the up and up, and he's going to be on the up and up, and you're going to keep the boundaries. So.
Number 5, social perception and gossip. Even if everything about your friendship is done appropriately, other people may misinterpret what y'all have going on, and the rumor mills, they're going to get started.
Yep.
This can put additional pressure on your marriage, especially if friends or family members voice their concerns or judgments. So they always going to say, I saw so-and-so and so-and-so out. You all right with that? You all right with just letting them go do that?
Yes. So that goes back to what I was just saying, the throuple situation. So I get it. You can't, listen to what people gonna talk. They gonna always talk. Somebody's gonna come to you and say, "Ooh, I saw Ed. He was at the, downtown Hot World event and kikiing in some lady's face." That's gonna happen. That part you can just be like, that's just people talking. But if you are intentionally putting your husband or your wife in situations where people are going to come to her, then now you are crossing a line to me. The throuple situation was one. There was a couple who ended up married, but they were once on a dating show. And the guy, final 2 choices were these 2 women. The one he chose ended up being his wife, and the one he didn't choose, end up didn't choose, end up becoming his best friend. And so the one he chose said, okay, she's cool because we got to know each other from the show. You know, let's respect the boundaries. However, they start going on trips together.
Just the two of them sometimes.
Yes. The three of them at first, but sometimes just the two. Not the wife
but
and the husband.
Mind you.
The husband and the best friend.
But the best friend was also working for them.
She was as a
really
publicist.
working for him as a publicist.
But still.
So they had work trips.
Yeah, still blurred but not crossed. Where it crossed was she started taking pictures and putting them on social media. The husband and her, the best friend, not the wife, in bathing suits. Hanging out at the bar, going to the club. Just the two of them, not the wife.
So, okay, so with that situation, they are on a work trip at the beach. They're going to have on swimsuits. And there were no lines that were blurred within the three of them. The wife was fully aware that they were on this trip. She was fully aware that they were at the beach. They had been FaceTiming. Hey, look at us, we're at the beach. She was okay. The issue came in with this right here that we're talking about. Other people started to see it and made them uncomfortable because they didn't have the same understanding that the three of them had.
Correct.
So they started gossiping about it, and then it made the wife start to second guess herself.
Correct.
What she was really comfortable with and had already okayed, she now had reservations and a whole lot of pause. And even initially, she fought for it. She was like, y'all are on something else. We're fine. She's doing the business. I'm okay with it. But the more people talk, the more she got a little stirred up. And the best friend, she was really gonna roll with it against all of the rumors, but the best friend made some comments like she was there for him and not really for her.
Yes.
And so that's why I said that there has to be a mutual respect. The respect has to be for the marriage and for the union. So any friends that I have, they can't be like, I just ride for her, I don't ride for you.
Right.
You can't ride for me and not ride for him.
Correct.
This is a we thing.
Correct.
You can't be like, I'm just here to get to know her. No. You can't do that.
And if that friend really respect the relationship, once people got to talking, rather than just, antagonizing the situation, like, man, I don't care what y'all saying, we friends, we this and that. It's like, you know what, sis, I'm putting you in a bad spot. You know what, friend, I'm putting you in a bad spot with your wife. I'm going to fall back. I'm going to still be a good friend. And now I'm going to not do so much social media presence. I'm going to still work for you. I'm going to look out for the two of you. At that point, it became more of, I'm looking out for me and the husband's friendship versus the friendship that I'm supposed to. Thing. You now are friendship to the marriage.
Period.
That's it.
And those boundaries have to be communicated. Like, y'all have to talk about that. Because this rumor mill and gossiping is not going to bother everybody.
Correct.
Everybody's different. It doesn't bother me. Like, I don't care anything about it. It bothers Ed.
It does.
But I have to know who I'm married to. Know who you're married to. If you got two people and it bothers nobody, this won't be an issue. But if one or both of you are bothered by family, friends, people talking about friendships, then you got to attack this a different way. Ed's been married before. He has an ex-wife. They have a wonderful co-parenting, working relationship. Their kids are adults now, but they do still have to support them.
Right.
And so, our son's in college, and so he went to move him in. And I got questioned, like, wait a minute, are you not going? And I was like, no, I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go take care of that and move him in. So you mean to tell me you're going to let Ed go stay overnight somewhere where his ex-wife is going to be? Yeah, I am. I'm okay with that. And so other people might not be okay with it. They're like, no, you ain't going to stay nowhere close to her. But that's not me. Right. And so I feel like in our relationship, in our marriage, we get to make decisions about what's okay and what's not okay. What our boundaries are not going to be your boundaries.
Correct.
The same way I said the whole you can't call her after 9. That's not a thing. She can call him at 2:00 in the morning. and I'm okay.
She wouldn't, but
even if
she
their
needed
kids are grown and out of the house, if there was something that she needed and she called him, it wouldn't bother me.
Right.
And he doesn't. You've never said anything to me about what time somebody calls, but
No.
it's just not a thing for us. If it's a thing in your house, then you have to respect your partner and whatever it is that gets up under their skin.
And address the thing. Don't confront it. Don't be
Speak on that.
Oh, listen, addressing means sitting down, talking about, can we talk about the times that your friend or your ex or your baby mother or your cousin, whoever it may be, calls the house? Like, is there something we can work out? See, that's addressing it. Confronting it, why you let them call all the time? See, that's
you
disrespectful.
answer the phone. Don't call my house after. No, you gonna respect my house.
Don't do that. That's making the situation worse. That's making everybody uncomfortable. We're not trying to do that. It may be a little uncomfortable, but that's making everybody antagonistic. Like you creating a whole war within your marriage. Don't do that. Don't do that. So address
versus confront. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Respectfully. Address respectfully. So we are not here to say that you should or shouldn't have friends of the opposite sex. Again, that's completely up to the two of you.
Right.
It works for some and not for others. Our goal today is just to make sure that your eyes are wide open to the risk associated with these friends.
Right.
So remember, to lessen these risks, it's important to have open and honest discussions with your partner about your friendships. Make sure that they're comfortable and understand the nature of your relationships. Establish and respect clear boundaries with friends of the opposite sex to prevent any misunderstandings or inappropriate closeness. Always make sure your partner feels valued and prioritized.
Yes.
Invest in time and effort into nurturing your marriage above any other relationship. You have to be intentional about that.
Absolutely.
So you have to be mindful of your feelings and those of your friend. If you notice any shift towards romantic feelings, any little comments, any little extra, you have to address it right then.
Don't brush it off.
Immediately.
Do not brush that off.
Appropriately. By being mindful of these dangers and actively working to maintain trust and respect within your marriage, you can balance friendships with people of the opposite sex, if you so choose, in a healthy and constructive manner.
Yes. So no, this is a strong conversation that I think we always try to peg things that people should talk about going into marriage.
Absolutely.
This is one of them. Platonic friends. And don't just go and say, you know what, we just not gonna have none. Because you're gonna run into something. Or you're gonna forget one that you had, and then all of a sudden, oh, I forgot to tell you, this is my best friend from back in college. She back in town. We going out for drinks tonight.
No new friends. No new friends. I'm with. Who is it? Drake that said that?
Yes, Drake.
No new friends. Like, if this is not your homeboy or homegirl, like that you've been had, then any new people that you have, then they're new people for us.
Right.
We meeting them and getting to know them together. Again. You are not this work husband and work wife foolishness.
We didn't really go into that like we could have. Boy,
Don't tell me that you are my husband's work wife, because you're not. My husband has a wife. I'm his wife at work. Yes. I'm his wife in the bathroom.
Correct.
I'm his wife at Walmart.
Correct.
You are not a stand-in for me, no matter where he is.
Yes.
I don't have no work husband.
I'm her work.
My husband is my work husband.
I'm her handyman, her delivery man, her fix-it man, her whatever man.
Ain't no play brother and sister.
No play.
I got two brothers and a sister. He has a sister and a brother.
Yes.
We don't play with none of that stuff. If you're a friend of his, then we can talk, because now you are a friend of mine.
Absolutely.
We're not gonna have friends that I can't have a relationship with.
Yes.
So if she is your friend, then I need to talk to her. If he is my friend, you need to talk to him. You need to know who I'm friends with, who I'm communicating with.
Absolutely.
Ain't no sneaking.
Yes. So
now that I got that off my chest.
Yes.
Ain't about to be sneaking up in here.
This has been great. So for more information about our coaching services, courses, marriage tools, events, and getaways, go to onevisionerc.com. That website again is onevisionerc.com. If you had a good time hanging out with us, and I know you did, and if you got something out of it, which I know you did as well, go ahead and subscribe so you won't miss the next one. Like it so we'll know you enjoyed it, and share it so somebody else can be blessed too. We'll see you next time.